Today we're gonna go see the piano ninja himself, Mr. Peter Keys, a seasoned keyboardist here in Nashville who just built his own epic studio, which is called Stoner Creek Studios. It's huge. It's a big giant barn. He's made it sort of traditional, commercial inspired with a lot of personal home studio workflows and little tasteful things all over the place. It's a really cool space. And Peter, if you've never seen him before, is a very interesting, talented, and fun person to work with. So I hope you guys like this video. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button, the like button. And if you clicked on this video because you're planning your own studio setup where you're trying to figure out some new things that you can add to your setup or make it a little more efficient or get some inspiration, you can actually schedule a consultation call at andrewmastersmusic.com where you can have a chat with me and talk about different ways to optimize your studio setup, your workflow. You can ask any questions you want about the process, the build, anything you might be considering for your studio project. Again, that's andrewmastersmusic.com. You go to booking and you can schedule a consultation call with me. Otherwise, I'm gonna put links to Peter down there as well so you can go check out his studio, go follow him on social media and things like that. That's about it. Let's go check out Peter's studio. Wow.
It's a 30 by 50 pole barn. With
Holy cow.
with a 10 by 30 overhang. That is the kitchen and bathroom and ISO room.
Wait. So 30 by 50 plus? Holy crap.
So it's like 1,730 square feet. After, playing and recording and tracking in a ton of studios in Nashville and all over the place, I just kind of got the ideas of what the rooms were that I liked. I like the big open high ceiling, the ability for everybody to be together to capture all the sound in one place rather than do a bunch of isolation rooms where you're kind of stuck with that's the footprint. This way we can, baffle things if we need to create different spaces, and love the high, the way the drums sound with the high ceiling. So, when you get a pole barn, they generally go with like a flat truss that's like 12 feet. But if you, get the scissor trusses, what they do is they pitch up so that you have a cathedral ceiling. And it's much better for, reflections and stuff like that.
We got concrete on the floor, which I love.
Yeah.
Lots of rugs.
So the walls, basically when they build the building, they give you a shell. They wrap it with an insulation. Then what I did was I took 2x6s and offset them 2 inches off the exterior wall.
Oh, wow.
Then I filled that. I had a pile of rock wool in here that was, taller than your head. Framed the whole inside of the building with those 2x6s, filled that with rock wool. Then I put a layer of 5/8 sheetrock on that.
Okay.
And basically that's the sound insulation from outside to inside. Obviously, I love natural light, so I put a ton of windows in here. Everybody's like, don't do windows. I was like, I need light.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get, some train noise because I have a train track across the street. The good news is if you want to train on your vocal track, I can do that. The bad news is if you don't, I have to wait until the train goes by, but it runs on a schedule, so that's good.
I see you added this like
It's
stone.
Stone fascia. This is like a layer of 5/8, a layer of 1/2 inch sheetrock, then a 2x6 frame with rock wool. Then on the other side of that, there's 1/2 inch and then 5/8 inch sheetrock. And then this underlayment stuff, which I discovered when I built the studio in the house. It's 80% pine and 20% kind of like tar. So what it does is it absorbs a lot of those high-end reflections that you get. And I think it sounds fine already. I'm thinking about treating it or maybe dropping some, weird baffles or something up there. But so far it's been great, and I don't feel like climbing back up on a ladder anytime soon.
Yeah. We're moving all these keys out of the way.
Yeah, that's no fun.
You got a lot of junk in here.
Junk.
By junk, I mean gold.
My first recording rig was like a cassette 2-track, and I, did a bunch of programming, and I think I had an Ensoniq ESQ1 sequencer, and I was doing, started doing a bunch of just different like experimental weird stuff. I mean, I've been playing piano since I was 4, so it's like kind of been doing this my whole life.
Yeah.
But you know, that 2-track evolved into a Tascam 688 cassette 8-track, which was freaking awesome. I worked at Guitar Center for 6 weeks so that I could get my employee discount, bought that thing and quit.
I've done something similar.
And then that started my journey into, you know, into engineering, recording, producing, and stuff like that. And then it's kind of evolved into this monster, which is Stoner Creek. This is somewhat a result of watching your videos.
Oh, sorry.
You know, I was like, I started watching your videos, like, I need to do something to make my studio better in the house. And I fell into your channel. I was like, oh, that's really cool. Oh, look at that. Oh my God, look at that. And then I saw, you know, Butch Walker's place. I was like, oh shit, I just need to build a barn. And you know, as we do, it kind of snowballed into this, which is amazing. You know, again, I want this to be a hybrid kind of situation. So if, you know, if we're doing a full band, I like to be able to track everybody together. So I've got Hammond B3, Leslie over there, clavinet, Wurlitzer, Yamaha C7, which I just picked up. Can isolate the guitar amp in here, bass rig, you know, I've got a couple different options. We can go super vintage with the B15, or we can go a little more modern with the SVT. You know, obviously drum kit, room mics, just, you know, kind of however we want to do it. I've also got a duplicate keyboard rig in the control room with another Hammond, another Wurlitzer, and another clav, because that's the, you know, meat and potatoes of what we do here. But this way it's cool, you know, if I'm engineering or producing and there's another keyboard player, I can be like, yeah, go out there and play the B3, or, you know, just do whatever. So, you know, it's just, again, I like it flexible. I've had a bunch of different setups, you know, different bands coming in doing different ways. There's no one, you know, specific method, I think, that works for everything. So I didn't want it to be clinical or sterile at all, you know. I'm still kind of hoping for some more color on the walls. I need to do something with these plain panels, but, you know, a lot of this is form over function, and a lot of it's function over form, you know.
So I see you've done something I was gonna try on some of these, which is you got panels and then you wrapped them with tapestries.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's just, it brings a little bit of life and light and color to the vibe.
All right, so you got drum corner over here. This is obviously the most important part of the studio.
This is the most important part for Andrew.
You got a big fat Gretsch.
Yeah.
What's this guy? The black
That's
one?
a Yamaha Beach.
Is it black? I can't even tell what the color. It looks a little purple.
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 Yeah.
Nice.
So purple Yamaha Beach. I've got the Gretsch.
What's that guy? It's sparkle.
I think it's a Pacific, but I'm not sure. I think it's fiberglass.
What?
Yeah.
With a wrap on it? That's crazy.
Yeah. And that one's just got no head on the front, so it's that super big, wide open. You know, the Gretsch is more of a kind of 80s rock type situation. It's something that I didn't think about when getting into this is storage, right? Like how to, you know.
There.
Yeah, up there, it's just impossible to get to. You know, I'm thinking like ladder or maybe loft type situation, but for now that's just dead space.
You know, we can all drink every time I say East West. At East West in Studio 1, they had a very similar thing above the control room like this.
Yeah.
And back in the 60s and 70s, they actually had a staircase that went up about just above the windows, and there was like a little tiny booth up there, so you could do like a little viewing booth or something up there with some stairs.
A mezzanine?
And then have your interns shove shit that you want out of the way up there. Yeah. Road cases.
I've got another nook, right? Like up here. This, I mean, again, this is a work in progress. There's still lots to be done. I've, you know, been working here for 6 months, but I've got this loft situation up here, which goes above the control room, which is where the HVAC is hanging off the rafters. But I had a loft planned for here that would like cut across to here and throw a couch up there and a little chill area.
Whoa.
you know?
Whoa, dude.
But I needed to get to work, so we didn't get that done yet.
Well, it's kind of nice to like it being open like this.
Yeah. So the HVAC, I'm gonna plug Right Time Heating and Cooling because they were freaking awesome. You know, I'd studied a lot about like the mini splits and all of the different ways to do it. And after seeing somebody have a total nightmare about the mini split breaking down, and then another friend of mine had the air moving, you know, they put the baffles in and stuff like that, was built with particle board, and it captured the moisture and molded, and he had to tear his whole fucking place apart. Sorry, we'll try not to cuss. But anyways, with Right Time, I did a bunch of research and figured out that you can take the ducts and coil them so that the sound doesn't go through.
Got it.
So all of these ducts are coiled to the returns out here. And then the intake is right up there. So if you listen.
Oh yeah.
Like that was the biggest problem having the studio in the house, was like,
yeah.
Every vocal track had an air conditioner on it, and this is dead quiet.
Yeah.
You know. And so it's also got a dehumidifier built in it, because in Tennessee we have like a crazy amount of humidity, right?
Yep.
So literally there's water leaking out the back 24/7 in the summer, but I've got it set so that it's at 50% humidity year round, which is great for the pianos. You know, the soundboards will crack if they get too dry or too wet. The other thing that I did not know is if you're building a studio, you want to undersize your HVAC unit, because if you oversize it, what happens is it heats up or cools down to the proper temperature, and then shuts off.
Oh yeah.
And then it builds a bunch of condensation and builds a bunch of humidity. So you want to undersize it so that it's just constantly running. And it's actually more economical that way, because it's just a constant.
Yeah.
You just want to keep it at that constant level. So it's been great, you know.
C7, is that what this is?
Yes, this is the Yamaha C7.
You have a, would you mind?
I would not mind.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's just so nice.
Yeah.
That song? I think you know that song.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, this is the Yamaha C7. I've always wanted one, and I've been looking for one forever, and I found one in Florida for a really good deal. But let me take you over here, because this is my first piano I ever played. This was my mom and dad's. This is a 1923 Steinway M. And if you're familiar with the Carole King album Tapestry, she cut all of that on, not this exact piano, but this particular. So it's a little bit brighter. So yeah, this is like my rock and roll, you know. So it's a little more rock and roll than the Yamaha, which is very much a big pop, giant, big sound. So
I know the C7 as being like a bright pop thing. Obviously, that's bright in a different way. It's almost like acoustic guitars, like a dreadnought versus like a smaller body. But I also noticed that this room, when you were on that C7 and I was standing over in the middle, it sounded darker.
For sure.
And until I put my face near the piano.
Right.
And then I'm like, oh, there's that sound. But the room actually has a dark character to it, which is nice.
I think a lot of it has to do with that underlayment that I've got on the ceiling, right?
Yeah, it's really, really well controlled. I'm gonna do the most shameless plug ever. I do studio consults for people who are in the process of doing this, and they have so many questions about floors. And they're like, we're gonna do concrete, and then I'm gonna cover it all up. I'm like, don't do that. Like, let the concrete be.
Leave some of it. Yeah.
Put rugs on it, and it allows you to sort of manipulate the room. And concrete sounds cool.
Well, you could hear the difference. Like, there's no rugs under that piano, and it's just super bright. This is, I had to put the runner under this, and this is just, I mean, it's also a darker piano. It's just a bigger body, bigger strings, you know.
Yeah. But beautiful.
Are you familiar with this?
Is that a countertop EMT?
This is an an echo plate, a giant stereo echo plate. And I traded this for a guitar that I would maybe have played twice a year. It was a nice guitar.
Yeah.
But I was like, man, I will use this thing every day.
That's like a 140 or something, like EMT 140 or something?
It's an echo plate is the name of the company.
Really?
But it's just like, you know,
it's huge.
The adjustments here, and it goes up to, it says 9 seconds, but it's more like 14.
Wow.
Like, I just open it wide up, and it's like, you can hear.
You just messed up that perfect setting that we had.
Oh, but I know where it is.
Oh, okay. Oh, nice. Oh, whoops.
Actually, the weird thing is when it's on, if there's somebody in there, I can actually feel the vibration of what's going through it, and I can kind of adjust it by feel.
Oh, I like that.
Which is interesting.
Yeah. How do you like these 251s as overheads?
I love them. They're great.
I have one of their 251s, and it's one of the only mics I haven't used on drums because I can't take it off of vocals.
Yeah. Well, I picked up the 47,
and
I was using one of these for vocals.
Yeah.
And the 47 is freaking amazing.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. But yeah, shameless plug. We love Warm Audio. Thanks to Andrew.
What? Me?
But yeah, they're great. I had the Coles over.
Yep.
As overheads. And they were great too. And I was using them because I've seen everybody use them, and like a million sessions, and they're on like 999,099. But then I was like, you know what? They may be a little dark.
Is that one of those fat head in the front? What's this?
It is. Yeah, that's a Cascade fat head. Right. I like it. I had the RCA 47 Junior on there. And for some reason, I don't know if it was a mic cable or the ribbon kind of took a crap on me.
Did you say RCA 47 Junior?
Yeah, I'll show you. Always have a locker for your mic locker.
Yeah, that's cool.
So it's...
Oh. Wow, this is crazy.
47 Junior.
That's cool.
Yeah, and then, you know, of course, we've got the upright, the Yamaha upright with... this is kind of one of my favorite features, is that it's got a damper pedal. So if I close the dim. You can't really see it right now, but that damper drops down behind the hammers and in between the strings. So it gives it almost an electric piano vibe, you know? Really just mellows it out. Anyways, yeah, it's kind of like a little soulful piano.
What do you have on here? Oh, KM84.
I have a KM84, and then the other KM84 I stole for the hi-hat, so I think that's like an MXL or something.
I love that.
Yeah, and then this, you know, we're just cutting acoustic guitar and vocal in here with the 47 and the
87.
87, yeah, it sounded great. But I discovered this neat little trick with the Rhodes. So this is a suitcase Rhodes. I had this Motion Sound Pro 3, which is basically the top of a Leslie.
Oh, cool.
Right, it's just the horn. And it was broken, and I was like, why isn't it working? I took it apart, and I realized that the band had broken. But I had it up on my Rhodes because I was working on it. And I was like, well, I wonder. And I was like, oh my God. So it's got this really nice top end that the Rhodes without it is very mellow.
Yeah.
But bring up.
Yeah.
And it gives you that just big gnarly crunch.
Wow.
Which I just love. So, you know, that was kind of one of those happy accidents. I wanted to play the Pro Soloist as well, because this is like another gnarly sound. And that's why I brought in the Space Echo to use it to jump through into the preamp here, right? Because these things are super weird the way that they're built. It's got an accessory on the front, which I don't even know what that means. It doesn't say in or out, it's just accessory. Yeah. So I'm like, well, just plug some shit into it and see what happens. And you know, and this is what happens. So, you know, just making weird sounds. This thing is totally old, unpredictable, but it can get some of the funkiest tones ever. You know, like Bernie Worrell from Funkadelic used this a lot, and that was like one of my main influences. I played with them for like 7 years, and so I was like, oh, Pro Soloist, got to get one of those. Yeah. Like the thoughts behind this, having these keyboards in here, is like anything that makes sound on its own. So the suitcase with the speakers, the Leslie, the piano, you know, want to have the ability to kind of work in a isolated environment.
Yeah, it's almost got a bedroom vibe in there.
It's kind of, it's getting there.
Being back in the bedroom.
I gotta hang some beads, you know. Now this is the most important piece of gear in the studio, is the Keurig.
Lots of coffee mugs, super important.
Mini fridge, a place to wash them, yes. You know, the kitchenette. Like, it's kind of a crucial thing because nobody wants to like have to run out to get coffee. The bathroom also super key. I'm really grateful that I did plumbing.
Yeah.
That was another thing in the building of it. I was like, I got this. I can do the plumbing.
Who did you work with someone on the interior layout?
I had an architect who had never built a studio, ever designed one, and I was like, bro, I want to design it. It's got to be like this. Here's the footprint. And I drew out a bunch of different things, and I stole a bunch of different ideas online, and they just came out with like a rough plan. Nice. And I was like, how many 2x4s do I need?
Yeah.
You know, that was literally the thing. Like, I need to know structurally what I need to build so that the control room doesn't fall in upon itself.
Yep.
And he laid it out, and then I called my brother, Alex, I love you, from California, who's a contractor, and we built this whole thing over Thanksgiving.
Wow.
Like, framed out the control room, you know, the separating walls and all that stuff.
There's all these little accessory windows throughout. I mean, obviously you have the control room thing, which I imagine you knew you wanted to have 3.
Sightlines, super important, right?
But even between like the live room and this room, there's sight
right.
lines
So
behind the door.
We can close this door, and you have a sight line from the ice, right? So from the ISO room through. I mean, you can't see the whole control or the whole live room, but like I wanted a sight line here.
Wow.
Wanted a sight line here, you know.
Yeah, I mean that's
so. And the cool thing I discovered was I can actually see Pro Tools from here.
Yeah.
So I just patch in there because like I don't have enough room in the control room for all of my keyboards. And this is the one like extra one that I use the most. You know, these will find their way onto tracks, but not as often as this will, you know. So again, it's, you know, sightlines was a huge thing. I had to do a lot of kind of configuring when I was doing the drawings, but
also shout out to the printer. You gotta have a printer in the studio.
Bro, I stole this from the house.
Charts, lyrics.
Not gonna lie, the wife's like, can I print something? I'm like, absolutely. Yeah. Oh, and bathroom.
Oh, yes.
You got my favorite is, come on, my favorite feature of the bathroom is when you're sitting on the can. Come on back. Come on, sit on the can.
Come on, take a seat.
Now, who do you see? You see Frank. But what else do you see? Oh, you see Frank sitting on the can. I'm a huge Frank Zappa head. I can't lie.
That's so funny.
I cannot lie.
That might be a first toilet perspective in the studio tour series.
Hey, man, cool.
All right.
We think of everything. So this is the control room, or the out of control room.
Wow. Okay, now do you know the space on this room? This is also one of the bigger control rooms we've been to.
It is 23 by 17 and a half by 11.
Wow.
So I used the Fibonacci series, right? The golden ratio. because I was told that was the best thing to do with a room if you want it to sound okay.
Pretty awesome.
And so the slat wall is also built off the golden ratio, right? So each slat is 1.86, I believe, difference from the next one to the next one to the next one. So it's symmetrical but random.
Okay.
So it's symmetrical left to right.
Right.
But random depths and random widths from each other. This is also the sheathing that I have out there on the ceiling
behind it.
Is behind this as well. So it acts as absorption and reflection and diffusion.
Nice. You got a lot of stuff in here.
We're working on it.
A lot of more keys. What do you think? There's more keys out there or in here?
That's more in here.
More in here?
For sure.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
This must be sort of, these two are like where you're going most frequently?
This is like control central. I also have a controller here that's at a session that I'm doing later today that is not in-house. It's like a Korg key stage that controls all of my soft synths. The Roland RD 2000 is my favorite piano action. So this is like if I'm going to cut, a demo piano track for something that I want to track later on the Yamaha. I don't know how they did it, but they finished it with something that absorbs the sweat.
Oh, cool.
Right, and it doesn't get sticky, and it just feels like a natural piano. So, yeah. Nice. So basically, I'll be in here. I'll program, run over here, drop a bass line. Find a synth part.
Did you use the Mellotron as your bass?
I use the Mellotron acoustic bass to go behind either like a Moog sub bass, or I'll go into Contact and pull up the Rickenbacker bass if I want that pointier sound, or I'll get the actual bass on it. I like a lot of options for bass and low end, so
that's cool.
It really depends, it's project specific what we do, Moog one of the, their flagship multi-timbral synth, which is just crazy sounding, And
you got them all routed to the
so I've got all my synths routed into the Mackie, which punches back out here into left and right, and this is all routed into the back of the API.
Cool.
Right, so I can pretty much control all of it right here, and it's like I like to be able to blend, rather than play one synth at a time. Sometimes it's like I'll play a left-hand part on one synth and the right-hand part on the other. I want that to come out as a single performance. I also have the option if I want to split it out and do it that way, There's so many different ways to deal with synthesis, from MIDI and stacking two synths together to playing them separately. I just like the feeling of playing two different parts, separated by hand, by hand position. But also I like it when I can stack like 4 synths together for a giant single note.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, the Ober.
Oh, yeah. What's the...
Yeah, this is my newest acquisition on the keys side of things. I just love it because it's got those, the big fat Oberheim oscillators. Just aftertouch.
Oh yeah.
I hate when I have to play like this and turn my head back.
Yeah.
So what I've done is I've patched out of the box with a headphone send back into the Mackie.
Ah.
Right? And so now the Mackie is coming out of the Neumanns. So the difference between the oscillators and the Moog and the Oberheim are pretty dramatic. Yeah. But I mean, I have to have both of them because you just really, not sure what you're going for at the time.
Wow.
Yeah, so super fun. And then, we've got the old Korg Prophecy. Really nice, gnarly, dirty. Where is it? Where are you? It's like I brought this back out of the hiding closet because I saw a Joe Zawinul video, and like this is what he was playing on for all of his lead lines.
Oh, cool.
You know, Weather Report, I'm sure.
No, I don't.
Yeah, Weather Report, Joe Zawinul, Jaco Pastorius, like some of the best fusion music out there.
Cool.
But also Trent Reznor used the shit out of this on his first few Nine Inch Nails records.
Oh, cool.
Obviously the Moog sub. Your classic Moog.
You know, I have that. It sounds different when you play it than when I play it. I think you got a secret setting on there, I think.
To be honest, I haven't scratched the surface in programming on that because like I find the sounds pretty quickly that I want to use like right away. And then that's basically the baby brother to this guy, which somebody unplugged, but the Voyager. Yeah,
the old Lexicon.
Yeah, unfortunately the Lexicon needs a little love because the digital readout, one of the freaking pixels is blown out. So it works, but you got to be like, is that a 5 or is that a 3 or is that an 8? I don't know. But we just kind of go with it and find.
You got to really listen.
Yeah, that's it. It really is about listening. That's also why I have the screens over there.
Yes.
You know, so that I can focus on really what is it sounding like.
Yeah, exactly. What's the interfaces?
Paulos.
We've got some preamp stuff on the box, and then over here is
so I've got 1 through 8 here.
Okay.
9 through 24 there. Right. 25 and 26 is this is kind of my vocal rack.
Okay, so hold on. So these are 9 through 24.
Yeah.
Okay, warm. Oh, this is the 6176.
That's the 2610.
Oh, the 2610. But this is Mark 1 though.
Yeah, this is the 6176. Sir.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a theory that this sounds better than the new one.
Now, I love this. I have this pretty much hardwired to the Leslie with 2 of those ribbon mics on the top.
Oh, right.
So I just come in here, turn on the Hammond, boom, it comes right out of the 2610. If I want to patch it through the distressors, I jump into this patch bay here, which our friend John helped me out with. John, where'd you go? Yes. John has helped me design my entire patch bay and system because it was a mess. It's still kind of a mess, but it's a good mess. Anyways,
good work, John.
Yeah, so run the Leslie kind of live in there. And then everything else is, you know, up for grabs. You know, like how are we going to do the drums? I'll usually do the drums 1 through 8 here and then grab the last 4 off the 412s, the warm audio 412, so that it's all kind of a consistent API sound. If that's what we want. Sometimes I'll run the rooms through the 2610s. Sometimes I'll run them through the 4710D, which is similar but a little more modern sounding. You know.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, are you returning on this side of the box? Is that what's over here?
Yeah. So this is all the summing, and we can return into this. It's mostly just going straight into Pro Tools through the Apollos. And then if I want to say send, like John helped me out with this too, what I'll do is I'll send a return back here and then I can hit my effects with the auxes, right? So I've got the plate out there going to aux 1 and 2. I've got the Lexicon, second one, which is 3 and 4. It's actually just 1 and 2. Then I've got the Space Echo on 3. And then the MXR pitch transposer on 4 right now. Nice. All of that may or may not change, but that's just how I have it set up. I just picked up an Echoplex, or just had that completely rebuilt yesterday. So that's going to find its way into the chain as well. So.
Nice.
Yeah. So, but routing wise, yeah. So I've got the summing all down here.
So you just patch right in.
So I can just patch it in. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then the original A7Xs.
Yep.
And then ATC 25s. Right. Nice. Yeah. Have you had both of these speakers for a while?
I got the ATCs. Actually, the ATCs when I just finished the building, I brought those in without anything else, and I listened to my favorite records.
Yeah.
And it blew my mind.
Oh, cool.
I was hearing things off Led Zeppelin 1 and 2 that I had never heard, which freaked me out because like I know that record from like a baby.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I really just kind of fell in love with them. Their mid-range is just so like present and warm. You know, I have the Neumanns as well, which were the first set that I really fell in love with the mid-range on, just because I play keys. Mid-range is such a huge thing. Like,
yep.
You know, having clarity in there and trying to just, you know, hear the difference in the oscillators between a Moog or a Prophet, you know, is kind of crucial for me. So yeah.
Before we wrap this up, is there anything that you wanted to mention or plug or share in this?
My name is Peter Keys. How you doing? PeterKeys.com. I don't know, Peter Keys. Follow me at, you know, Instagram, Facebook, whatever. Stoner Creek Studio. I do a ton of remote stuff. Like if you need keys, hit me up. You know, if you want piano, B3, whirly, clav, synths, whatever. Yeah. Email it to me. I have a whole hard drive dedicated to cyber tracks.
Well, Peter, this place is freaking amazing. I want to come out and do some stuff in here.
Yes.
Are you down?
Absolutely,
to
bro.
Have some fun. Maybe we can come back and do some other videos. I'll put links to Peter down in the description. Give him a follow. Hit the like button. Subscribe. All the YouTube things, and we'll get out of here.
Seriously.
Thanks. Yeah. What's the deal with the clown nose? I see you have it everywhere.
Reminds me not to take myself so seriously.
Oh, okay.
You know, it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
this is supposed to be a good time. Life is supposed to be fun.
Yeah.
You know.
Cool.
Yeah.
Don't forget that. All right. We'll see you guys in the next one.